Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's very exciting because I'm putting to the test yet another foundation, and because I am such a big fan of the NARS All Day Luminous, this makes it extra exciting for me. Today I will be putting to the test the Soft Matte Complete Foundation. Without further ado, if you would like to find out what coverage it has, how long it wears on an oily, acne-prone skin, then all you have to do is keep on watching. As you all know, I always try to throw in and read some of the claims for the foundation, so let's read some claims. Total Mattisfaction. Discover all-day satisfaction with a breakthrough in matte foundation. True color, oxidization resistant, full natural looking coverage. Comfortable 16-hour wear featuring NARS's exclusive anti-oxidization complex to help prevent color shifting and to help protect skin from pollution and blue light damage. New Hydromat Balancing Complex balances excess sebum while keeping skin hydrated with a combination of microalgae and biohyaluronic acid. Superior oil absorbing powders create a smooth, mattified second skin look. Satisfying, mattifying, the new take on matte. Available in 34 shades for all skin tones, oxidization resistant, transfer proof, shine proof. Details: medium to full, buildable coverage, natural soft matte finish, 16-hour long wear, oxidization resistant, shine proof, transfer proof, humidity proof, sweat proof, protects from pollution and blue light. So it has everything that you could ever want in a foundation. I'm not going to go into benefits because it's more or less going to be repeating itself. If you want more details, then just go on the NARS website. I'm too excited. Let's get started. Let's give it a shake. It doesn't actually tell you to give it a shake, but you know me, it's better to be safe than sorry. By the way, I did get the shade Salzburg Light 3.5 because I went on foundation and that's kind of what it matched me to. Hopefully it's going to be alright. It shouldn't oxidize, so let's see. Reasonably thin, which could be scary, but on the other hand, there are some foundations that are really liquidy but have a lot of pigment to it. Hopefully this is the case. As you all know, I always or tend to prefer a sponge, but I will test out a brush on the other side because if I remember correctly, All Day Luminous, I actually prefer a brush. I've got the foundation on my sponge. Hopefully the shade match, it should be alright. It does tell you to shade match yourself and let it like dry down, let it set before you make a decision on the colour, but that should be okay. Well, that was crazy fast, and you guys, that looks so good so far. This is one side of my face with one layer of the foundation in comparison to my bare face. I'm shocked. This looks so nice. It looks very light on the skin. I love it already. It is more of a medium coverage, but it's like a solid medium coverage. For some people this could even be full coverage. It's not for me. I know what full coverage looks like, okay, and I will build it. I'm just going to let it fully set, although this already seems pretty dry. Doesn't feel like anything on the face so far. Very impressed. And as promised, I'm going to use a brush on the other side. This is Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. I always use this for my foundations if I'm using a brush. But I'm ready immediately, like not even 2 seconds in. This is too dry of a formula to be used with a brush. I didn't even manage to build or put something there before it dried down. I can see that it's drying down. and it's a little too liquidy for my skin texture. The sponge allowed it to kind of be spread evenly, whereas the brush kind of focused on my pores and my like indentations left by like acne, my acne scars. And I don't think there's that much difference between a already settled in kind of side, maybe just a slight one, like half a shade, maybe a shade difference between the two sides. Looks very, very pretty. This is the other side of my face with one layer of the foundation in comparison to my bare face. What does it look like on camera? Because in real life, this looks so nice. Itsy bitsy negative is the fact that I feel like it clinged onto my mustache area. It looks a little bit cakey there, but a lot of foundations look a little cakey around my mouth. I have no idea why. I'm going to avoid this area whilst applying another layer because I want to see whether I can build this. I'm reasonably happy with the coverage, but it's definitely not full. I wonder if I can get it to at least high. And again, I'm going to use a sponge for this. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh. A little negative when it comes to building this foundation. Does it build 100%? It does build to a high, I'd say, full coverage, and it does look okay. The only negative is that because it's a soft matte finish, because it dries down, a new layer kind of clings onto that first layer so much, and it looks a little heavy. It doesn't look terrible, it doesn't look like a mask, but it does sit on the skin just a little bit heavy, and because it's such a full coverage, it does, you can tell you're wearing foundation. Whereas with this one, even though obviously I can see my blemish there, it does look a little bit less heavy, it does look quite natural, it sits on the skin quite thinly, whereas this one, you can tell you're wearing a layer of foundation. Again, for me, that's not a problem. You know, if I'm wearing a foundation, I don't care that someone can tell I'm wearing foundation. As long as I look bomb and I feel like $1 million and I like what I look like, then I'm not fussed. Let's try different formulas on top of this formula because let's see if I'm able to cream contour, because you know how much I love cream contour. This is pretty matte. Will it ruin my base? So, powder products look lovely on this. Cream products, not so much, not my favourite, wouldn't recommend it. If you want to just solely use cream products, I definitely recommend the All Day Luminous over this. At this point in time, I do feel like I enjoyed All Day Luminous a little bit more, although this one comes very close. The coverage is almost the same. The luminosity, this one has like a nice sort of reflection. It's not like absorbing light kind of matte. It's not like a powdery matte. It has a nice soft matte finish. It is currently 10:04. I've probably had this foundation on for a good 10-15 minutes. So let's just say the wear test begun at 10 o'clock. Let me get on with the day. I'm going to film another video, and in a couple of hours I'm going to show you what my face looks like. So let's do that, and I shall see you in a bit. So it's been 3 hours and I thought I was filming where I wasn't. I did have a little bit of shine in the center of my face, and I did blot. This is the transfer, so the foundation for now. Why is everyone so loud in this house? So at the moment my foundation does look really nice. There's no like transfer or rub off. I do apologise. Like I said, I did have a little bit of shine in the centre of my face, but let me remind you, I didn't powder this down. So it still looked reasonably good. It just took me blotting it down and it looks good. Apologies for that. Let me get on with the day and let me show you what this looks like after a couple more hours. So I had a nap. And it's been 6 hours and this is what my face looks like. Obviously it's oily again, but I don't mind that. I rather blot throughout the day and look nice and glowy rather than like disgustingly matte. So yeah, the one thing that I have to say about this is the fact that it's so transfer resistant. My sister and I have been watching Ratchet on Netflix, and I've been going like this, obviously leaning on my hand, and the foundation more or less is still there, so pretty good. We're off to the shop, so I'm also going to test it for transfer on the mask. Blot, 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 a little bit of blotting, and I'm good again. Obviously this time around there's a little bit of transfer, but still looks pretty good. I'll update you with the mask test in a bit. It is hour number 9 and this is what my face is looking like. I feel like this is the biggest difference we've had so far, because so far the foundation is holding up so well, and despite a couple of changes and the overall look of my foundation, I still think it's nice and long lasting. I did go out, I did wear a mask, and this is a clip of my mask of the transfer that I had after I came back home. You can see there's some areas that the foundation did transfer, but if I look at my face, there's actually minimal rub off on my nose, which is where my mask sits, and even my jaw area that usually rubs off first is still pretty much there. Obviously some of it did rub off, but it's definitely not as bad as some other foundations. I can now slowly see, especially in my T-zone, that the foundation is slowly separating because of my sebum, because of my oil. I will blot and carry on wearing it. I have a workout to do later on, so we shall see what it's like when it comes to sweat. Speaking of, it did rub off my forehead just ever so slightly, but for a foundation to start breaking down at hour number 8 or 9, it's pretty good. So let's keep going. Let's give it a couple more hours and I will give you my final thoughts at the very end. Alright you guys, so here it is. This is my final check-in, hour number 13, and I still have this foundation on my face. So I completely agree. I do feel like this foundation could last for 16 hours. Yes, it doesn't look the best. It's you know, separated even more in the center of my face. I do look very oily, but again, let me remind you, I didn't powder at all, apart from my under eye area. I also worked out and my forehead doesn't look bad. This, when it comes to me, is a big thumbs up. I really like it, highly recommend it. The biggest question, do I like it more than All Day Luminous? I don't know. I can't make my mind up. Honestly, I think All Day Luminous looks a little less heavy, but it is quite thick actually. So they do look very similar, I have to say. Very similar. I guess it just depends what you want from a foundation. Do you want to look a little bit more matte, or do you want to look a little bit more dewy? As an oily skin person, this probably caters to me a little bit more, but Again, All Day Luminous lasts a very long time as well on an oily skin. I'm really liking it. Definitely will be using it more often. I hope you have enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful and you've enjoyed it. I hope to see you next time.